Welcome to What Work Teaches. My name is Wayne Harrison and I'll be talking you through how to use the What Work Teaches platform to support you to test interventions in your school. In this particular project, we're funded by the North East Combined Local Authority to work with Education Durham to develop a North East evidence base for what works in education. How do we support teachers? We've designed a platform over the last 3 years to help teachers to set up, implement and test interventions in your school. We know time is the most important barrier for teachers, so we've streamlined this into 3 short videos. The first one is this one, which helps you understand how to use the platform. The next video is the research evidence underpinning the intervention. And then the third video is an implementation video on how to use this in your school. Each video lasts about 5-6 minutes. We then have an intervention protocol, which you can download. And this includes step-by-step all the elements of the piece of research that you're doing in your school. We then have a resource folder, which you will then download, which has an anonymized student ID Excel spreadsheet, as well as any resources that you need for the intervention. And then we have the trial wizard. This is an automated support for teachers in helping you to set up the intervention. It analyzes the data you input and then produces an impact report instantly as soon as the post-assessment data is put into the platform to tell you how this has worked in your school. But what do we mean by robust evidence? So what we do in schools is we support you to basically identify a group of students. This is either a class or a group of individuals. And then we create a control group so that we have a group of students. So in this example, this would be class randomization. So one class receives the intervention, the other class doesn't. They both do the same pre-assessment measure. The intervention group will continue with the intervention program. The control group continues as normal, and then they both complete a post-assessment, which is usually the same as the first pre-assessment. When we do these trials, they're generally over 5 to 6 weeks over a half term to be able to show you in your school, does something show promise? And the students who don't receive the intervention complete the intervention after. So that's ethical for all students if it shows promise. So how do you use the What Work Teaches platform? So when you log on to whatworkteaches.com, you'll basically have to create an account. And once you create an account, in this project, you have a unique access code, which you then input, which then takes you to the actual trial. And this is just an example of a demo account for a peer tutoring intervention. So when the trial loads up, you then go sign up, and then it opens a teacher cockpit. And you'll see from there that you have on the right-hand side 3 videos. So the first video is the one that you're watching now, which is how to use the platform. The second video is an overview of the intervention, and the third video shows you how to implement. We then ask you to download the research protocol, and this provides you a record. So if anybody asks what you're actually doing with the research, you've got a record there of what this is. So it goes through the intervention, what the question we're trying to answer is, the design, the randomization, participants, analysis plan. So it just gives you everything you need with the support email address there. And then we ask you to download the resource folder. And in the resource folder, you can see there, you just open it up, and then it includes any resources as well as a simple Excel spreadsheet. And one of the things that we don't do is we don't collect personalized learner data on our platform. So you basically use this spreadsheet to link a student name to an anonymized ID on the platform. And then once you've done that, you go on to the trial wizard. So we tell you in the trial protocol how long these last. So you put your start and end date in. And then this is individual randomization. So in this case, you've selected a group of students to take part rather than class level. I've only put 6 in just to show the process. So you put your number of students in, and then it tells you who is in the control and who is in the intervention. So this is a type of trial which is a pull-out intervention. So the students are taken out the class to receive the intervention. And then we ask you to run the pre-test, which we go through in the videos on what this is. And then once you've done the pre-test, you input the scores. And then where ideally, if you can, let us know if a student is free school meal premium status. That just helps us with our analyses. And then that's it. You continue then to deliver the intervention over the 5-6 weeks. At the end of the 6 weeks, you then complete the post-assessment with both the groups, the control and the intervention, and then you put the data into the platform. Then you click Analyze Results. We then ask you to complete a process evaluation, and this just tells us how you've implemented that into your school. So in this case, it's asking about the peer tutoring, have they been prepared, how engaged with the students, attendance, and then you just click Analyze. And then what the platform does, it generates an impact report which explains to you how this intervention has worked in your school. And right at the very end, it contains all the data that you've input into the platform. You click complete, and that's it. You've just completed a trial. So that's your first micro RCT that you will have run in your school, which tells you how that intervention has worked. And what we do know what worked is for every single replication that we have, where you've got study 1, study 2, study 3, this is each school. We then aggregate the data together. So the more schools we have, the more confident that we can say that the intervention shows promise, that it's a good bet to use in your classroom. So we aggregate the data from each of the schools into an evidence base. Something that we get asked is it ethical to withhold an intervention from a control group of students? So we always use a waitlist in that if the intervention shows promise, they can access this after the post-assessment has been done. What we do is typical practice. So this is interventions that are commonly used in other schools. We're just trying to find out, will it replicate into your school? And we use anonymized data. So no personalized data from any learners goes onto our platform. So head teacher consent is sufficient to participate in the trial. The last thing I'm going to go through is just data integrity. Our mission is to create a teacher-led evidence base that professionals can use to help inform decisions about teaching and learning in your school. Therefore, the evidence base is only as good as the data that the teachers input. So please just make sure that you follow the random assignment and that the data you enter is valid. So if a student's missing, you just put NA and just double check the data that you're putting into the platform before you do. And as each teachers replicate the evaluation, we aggregate this into an evidence base. So that's it for the introduction. The next video is a bit shorter, which is going through the intervention.